No Lantern shirt or attire, I just have Batman stuff to wear. I don't even know if you can see the logo in this video, but listen, I got some DC merch on. It's the best I could do. So Lanterns is officially out, episode 1, and how is it? Man, we have a lot to talk about, or at least a little bit to talk about with what little information we're given with this first episode, but it's really good. I love the mystery of it. And what I really love about Lanterns so far is that it's really committed to a detective noir tone. Everything we've heard in the marketing about how this is going to be a slow build detective story that takes its time is true so far. And I'm so excited about that because I love that it's a commitment to tone. It's what I look for in comic book properties where it's live action, where we're adapting something, but we are committing to a tone of what fits these characters and what fits the world, save for the fact that it sets place in one consistent universe. They're not changing their tone. We're trying to adhere to one specific feel for every single project that's coming out. I like that so far. Lanterns episode 1 feels completely different from Supergirl, completely different from Superman, and completely different from Peacemaker. Creature Commandos, it's different from everything, but also it doesn't feel watered down. My thing with Supergirl itself, the movie, is that it felt a little watered down, even though it was a different vision. So far, this feels pretty authentic. I'm really digging it. I appreciate the commitment to tone, like I said before, but I like that it's really taking its time with its characters, really letting them simmer, let them breathe, but I like the commitment to episode 1's mystery. The fact that it is okay with not filling you in on what's going on right away, where I feel like sometimes a detective show in the comic book medium will kind of want to spell everything out for you. This is feeling more like detective series, more so than comic book for now, but in a good way, a commitment to its overall feel. I was immediately hooked with Aaron Pierre on screen because he has a really fascinating looking backstory as John Stewart, and I've always loved John Stewart. John Stewart was my Green Lantern growing up in terms of the Justice League Unlimited show, the Justice League cartoons. He was just the Green Lantern I was introduced to, so like I knew about him before I even knew about Hal Jordan as a kid. So it's funny now seeing the reverse. I will never forget when that Ryan Reynolds movie came out, and I was so confused because I was like, why is John Stewart a white guy? Little did I know there was more Lanterns at the time. I was a little kid, didn't know that. The more you learn though, and like I like that here we are in a show where now that we've had a Hal Jordan movie with Ryan Reynolds, has no relation to this, but I like that they looked back, they're like, look, we've done this before, let's switch it up, let's have John Stewart, but have Hal Jordan be the mentor position, and have Hal Jordan build out the character of John Stewart through nice dialogue, through character comedy, through authenticity of their conversations. I love the bonding between John Stewart and Hal Jordan in this. It feels so authentic, and I like it because it starts you off right in the middle of it. And that's something I've noticed with these DCU projects is they're all starting us off in the middle of something. Instead of just getting your straightforward backstory, you're having moments in time that matter, that are pivotal for the character's arc, but it's not spending more time on things that you don't really need to spend time on. It's like we don't need to see John Stewart acquire the ring itself, but we can see John Stewart already in the process of training to acquire the ring. That way we can explore that part of it. We don't need to see John Stewart grow up entirely before getting the ring, but we can flash back to that. We can see parts of his childhood throughout the series and flashbacks in different timeline visits, but also spend time on a mystery evolving and developing in the current timeline. I love that balancing of storytelling with that. At least right now, I like the promise of that concept. I don't think we've seen the last of the 2016 timeline that has to do with Hal Jordan being around. I think even though, spoilers for this episode, like I said, spoilers for the whole thing, even though Hal Jordan dies at the end of this episode, I think we're going to get a lot more of him throughout the season, through flashbacks, through development, what's going to happen. Like, I like that we are setting the stage early for that as a hook. Using your knowledge of a previous Lantern as a benefit for the audience in terms of introducing him, then killing him off and saying, no, this is our character, John Stewart. How are we going to find out what happened to Hal Jordan, though? That's a great hook, I think, for a story. Feels very graphic novelesque. Aaron Pierre absolutely owns it as John Stewart in what I've seen of him so far. I love this cadence, the way he carries himself as someone who is constantly holding back any semblance of fear, any semblance of emotion. With that one quick flashback you see of him and his dad, you really get a lot of how he was raised and why he would act this way as an adult. I could definitely see his performance being called wooden at first glance, but that's not what's happening here. He's an emotionally reserved guy who was trained to hide emotion his whole life. So you see through his eyes, there are moments where I can tell he wants to emote more, but he's been raised and trained to just not do that. So it's a kind of tragic element with John Stewart. You're like, he wants to connect, but he kind of can't because of the way he was raised. He's meant to show no fear, but authentic emotion is what brings us to connection. So it's fascinating little duality within his brain that you're seeing in the show so far. I'm excited to see where that develops and goes. And it's a great contrast too to Hal Jordan, who has a completely different energy and vibe to John Stewart in this as he's training him. I love their back and forth, and it's so real. You just feel like two guys irritated by each other, but they both respect each other. I love that line that John Stewart has later in the episode where he's like, I do respect them. I actually really respect them. Like, they're not the same, but but he's a realist. Jon Stewart respects that realist side of Hal Jordan that the seasoned dude is showing throughout the whole episode. There's some great zingers with Hal Jordan too, man. He was great casting. Kyle Chandler absolutely nails Hal Jordan. Like, he feels like the Hal Jordan you would know, but just a little bit more attitude, a little bit more seasoned bitterness to him that just really fits his character, but he doesn't feel completely character assassinated. You still see the bits of a young Hal Jordan in there, but years have gotten to him. He's old, he's bitter, he's seasoned now, he's tired. But all the way back to that commitment to tone, man. Episode 1, that segment, because it starts off and you're having essentially a mystery go on where Hal Jordan's convinced that this is an alien-related murder, not just human-related crime. It's really cool world building in that is the fact that the cops know about the lanterns, and it's almost like a different precinct that they have problems with that will show up. Kind of like how a lot of cop movies will be like, oh great, the FBI is here, gotta deal with that. Green Lanterns are like the FBI in this world, where they show up and it's like, God damn it, who called them? But when they're here, they want to take the scene and they want to see what's going on because Hal Jordan's really convinced that these are aliens. And then you have this other cop character who does not like him, is really not trustworthy of him. Carrie, played by Kelly MacDonald, she is really solid in this too. She is bitter, man. Like, she does not like Hal Jordan. And I'm curious, I do feel like that's a red herring though. I feel like that'd be too obvious of an answer of him being the killer or her being the killer. And that's what my friends were talking about after. It's like, was she the one that took out Hal? She really doesn't like him, but that's too obvious to me. For now, at least. Feels like a red herring. But she does a great job in terms of exposition at telling us how other people see Hal Jordan beyond Jon Stewart. People outside of the people trained by him don't exactly respect him. And it makes me kind of root for Hal Jordan to get that respect back in a way. Unless Hal Jordan's like not a good guy in this and they're taking a complete different swing, which that'd be interesting, but I just really respected that about halfway through this episode, we were still grounded in this crazy desert setting. It's very quiet, but also there is something afoot, there's something going on. It has the vibe of an HBO Max detective show, like True Detective. Given that it's the same creators, it makes sense why. But like, I guess it's just a relief, because so many studios will promise a genre and then not actually deliver on that genre, or at least there'll be hints of that. Kind of like Multiverse of Madness, they're like, it's the first MCU horror movie. It's like, it wasn't really a horror movie though, let's be real. It was action with some intensity. This feels like, no, it's straight up detective series, detective stuff. You'll get your lantern shit, but under the guise of detective shit. I love that. There's promising a tone, and then there's commitment to a tone. This is so far committing to the tone. I really respect it. Because they're on that setting, and about halfway through, they meet the husband of the dude that Jon Stewart slept with. So HBO, you really get a hint that this connection knows that Jon Stewart slept with his wife, so you feel like there's a little bit of tension there arising. I like that little zinger at the end where Hal Jordan's like, you slept with his wife? I'm impressed. These characters have a bit more grit to them and not just uppity heroes. You know, Jon Stewart, he's got some impulses. He acts on them. It's just his game. I mean, it's Jon Stewart. Can you blame the girl? It's Jon Stewart. Anyway, the conversation that really stuck out to me in this episode, though, was that moment between Hal Jordan and the connection they're meeting, and I'm already blanking on his name because I just watched the episode. Basically, they're having that conversation about colonization and space travel, but it feels so authentically woven in, and it's such a seriously toned show, yet what they're talking about doesn't sound outlandish because it's a pre-established world. We know Superman, Supergirl, other crazy shit's happening. So when they have these serious conversations, it feels lived in, it feels right, it doesn't feel out of place. It's such an interesting balance of tone you have to strike when adapting comic book material and realism at the same time. And this is finding a fascinating blend of the two that doesn't, not to sound exaggeratory, because it's not the same thing, but it kind of reminds me of Nolan's Batman, where Nolan's Batman, at least Batman Begins Dark Knight, were committed to crime dramas. But that little bit of comic book edge is there inside of it. This is a little more outlandish, it's going to go crazier. But for episode 1, it feels like that kind of thing where it's like, no, we are committed to the realism here, even though it is outlandish at times. And I like that thematically, that conversation Hal and this guy has about, is like, look, regardless of what side you're on, no matter what, colonization is bad for the people receiving it and the people that we're coming in to take the home from. And I'm curious to see what that's going to entail for what the story is evolving into, involving alienation, aliens coming to Earth, what have you. It is a benefit that I don't know a lot about the Lantern's lore. I'm just now starting to get into it and reading it. I just started reading Absolute Green Lantern, and it's actually really good so far, but like I'm finally getting into that character. So it's fun to get to see more of that and see how that develops, because this show is going to be actually a legitimate mystery for me, because I don't know much about the lore. But man, standout of the episode, my favorite scene in the episode by far, that I was like, all right, I can't wait to see where this goes next, is the interrogation moment. The moment where you have Hal Jordan go into the room, they're interrogating the guy that they suspect is an alien, and he just starts questioning him. But I love that moment with Hal Jordan. It really shows his intelligence, it shows how good he is at the job. When he questions him and he says, so, you know about Harry Potter? Harry Potter. Where did he go to school? You don't even know about that? Like, I love those little details. It's not the fact that he doesn't know about Harry Potter. It's about the fact that he doesn't know about the finer details, the small things that are devils in the details. He just knows general information, which means he maybe might not be as human as we think, because he would know general, smaller human things. He's like, you live in Nebraska and you have no opinion on Barack Hussein Obama? You're an alien. That sent me. Comedic, dramatic, intense, immediately flips the scene, makes it intense. The moment you hear there's a bomb under the desk, it's literally the definition of bomb under the table tension writing that you hear about in like classes and shit. It's so good. He's like, if you blow up, I'm just gonna ring around you and catch you in a bubble, man. Try it. And you believe him. And I'm wondering, is that guy that blew up, is he a Manhunter? Are we dealing with Martian Manhunter stuff here? I forget if they mentioned that in the trailer. I believe they do. I don't want to look back though, because now I'm just intrigued for the mystery itself. But I'm curious, is like, are we going to introduce the Manhunters through lanterns? But when you tie that in with the thematic conversation of colonization, whether it's good or bad depending on the side, I'm wondering if this is going to lead into a, let's treat the Manhunters like villains, but then start to talk to them, start to empathize, help them out throughout this mystery. Where will that lead? I'm interested to see where that goes. All of that intrigued me before the very end hook that we end on, which is Hal Jordan's dead. What a ballsy opening. I really respect that because I think we're going to get more to see from the past. I don't think this is the last time we're seeing Hal Jordan in the DCU. We're definitely going to be getting him in flashbacks and stuff like that to develop his character to lead to what happened to him. The show is definitely benefiting from a lived-in universe being pre-established. It benefits from starting you off in the middle of it and then jumping us between timelines so we can kind of have fun in all of the storytelling elements of it. It doesn't need to commit to just being an origin story. It can be a detective story, an origin story, a drama, all of it in between, because you have long episodes fleshing it out, allowing for that. I dig that premise. I hope Lanterns, the rest of it, delivers on such. This tone is completely different. It feels unique to itself. It feels committed. I love that shit. I really enjoyed episode 1 of Lanterns. It hooked me in a way I wanted it to. I can't wait to see where this goes next. Every Sunday? Let's go, man. DC's in full swing. I know. I'm supposed to say DC is dying now because Supergirl underperformed. I get it. You have to be mind-washed online to hate everything. I know. I just don't fucking care. This show is pretty good so far, and I'm enjoying it. Guys, what did you think of episode 1 of Lanterns? Did you enjoy it? What was your favorite scene of it? I really dug it so far. I'm excited to see where we go next. Thank you so much for watching Scattered Brain Reviews. Leave a like, leave a comment, come talk about movies with us, come talk about stories with us. I will see you next time.